Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 2022 junior school graduation for our Year 5 students. So they have just come from a dinner, which has been an etiquette dinner in a sense for them, and they have just represented themselves outstandingly well, al fresco style outside of the science garden, which is wonderful. So it's an event we've held now for a number of years, and we're very comfortable with the format that we use and the age appropriateness of it, and it's an opportunity for them to share a meal together, but also with their teachers and the teacher assistants and all the staff members that help out, and then also have the formal part of this presentation for them to have their rite of passage to move on to Year 6 in the middle school next year. Not all of our students sitting in front of me today will be at Cathedral College next year, which is fine because that's what happens in life. People move and relocate and all those sorts of things. So first of all, I'd like to thank those students who are moving to other schools next year in other areas, to wish them all the very, very best. When I say this, I mean it, okay? Them being at our school helps us to be better people and a better school. And so their contribution is very important to us, and we look forward to hearing about them because they're still students that we've taught previously that still keep in contact with us, and we look forward to them going on and being successful young people as they travel through their teenage years and moving on. I want to make a couple of thank yous first of all to all the teachers, especially Mr Carmody and Mrs Kalish this year, who have guided and worked with the children. It's the first full year of school they've had since 2019, and they've worked astoundingly well throughout the year. We've asked a lot of them as Year 5 students. A lot of it is unseen. Some of it is very conspicuous to be leaders at the start of the year. A large number of students sitting in front of me right now chose to apply for house captains roles. And at the moment, we're going through the same thing with the current Year 4s. And one of the questions we ask in those house captains interviews is there a role model that they've seen as a leader within the house captains or the house involvement that they've had, whether it's senior school, middle school, or junior school. And a number of students in Year 4 have mentioned the house captains that they currently have in junior school, but also have mentioned some of the leaders, some of the other Year 5 students who have actually helped out in many, many other occasions. So as a cohort of Year 5s, we are very proud of you, very happy to see you such a good, committed group together, knowing that you have your social ups and downs and all that sort of thing, and every adult sitting in front of you tonight or with you tonight has had the same sorts of emotional stuff that we go through. That's part of being a human, all right? But you are a very strong group together, work together, look after each other, and make each other better by just being with each other, which is great. To the teachers, other than Mr Carmody, Mrs Kalish, and all the teachers involved, from if they started in prep down with Mrs Garish, and I think Mrs Dillman might have been down there at one stage, and Mrs McCarrow, and a lot of different names that have travelled. There's a lot of teachers that have been involved with the children. Mrs Kalish ran through a number of teachers who the children have been taught with, whether it's a specialist class or whether it's English or mathematics or whatever the case may be, which is wonderful. They've been a part of DOCA, pardon me, a part of Ovens, a part of the year level, a part of the junior school, a part of a house, and a part of a whole school, and a part of a community beyond. So your children are part of many different teams and different communities, and they've learned as they travel along that way. So to all the teachers, everyone, thank you very much for your support and your help, and shown tonight with a large number of junior school teachers and other teachers, executive members that were there, having a meal with the kids, but also serving them, waiting on them, and looking after them. That's part of what we do. It is a privilege to have the honour to educate your children, some for a short period of time, halfway through the year, and some for the full 7 years, 6 years, sorry, of our time in the junior school. It is a privilege, and I don't say that half-heartedly. I honestly do mean that. One of the great things, and I love talking about this as a junior school, one of the great things as a junior school teacher is when a child walks into prep, we are looking at that child 13 years down the track. And now we've looked and think to myself, I talked to little Hayden Ledger, who came in at the start of prep today, in preschool, when he came in to see me before he started school. And I asked, Hayden, what did you remember about that? Now, this is going back 7 years. Now, he'll have a much better memory than me, so I was probably forgetting and needed to ask him to remind me. But Hayden He said, I had to build a big tower. Okay, now they still build a big tower. But to me, I look at that and I think, well, Hayden is the symbolic of everyone who's travelled that journey. Okay, and I think that's a really important thing. So whether it's in 6 years or 1 year, or half a year, thank you for being a part of our school. The wonderful thing of moving on to a middle school or moving on to year 6, and we say this to the children all the time, is it's a new day, a fresh start. A new year, a fresh start. So everything you'll do in life will be resetting and going again. You never know what the next day might bring. Might be the best day of your life. It might be something that doesn't go too well. So always look forward to the next day because it's a fresh start. And the most important thing is you can't go back in time and undo things. You just move on. If it's been a really good day, make the next day a little bit better. But it may not be. If it hasn't been a good day, learn from that and then move on to the next day because it'll be a little bit better. But everything depends on how you focus on things. So I'm a pretty optimistic sort of person. I think of a half cup, we have to be if you're back for Collingwood, but I think of a half cup full and I'd rather look and think about all the good things that are happening in my life on a daily basis. So I leave that with you to think about. Thank you for being part of our community. And now you're going to go through a presentation where you get a chance to acknowledge each other, but also feel very proud of yourself inwardly and acknowledge all the wonderful people that you've gone through school with. The way this evening will work, I'll hand over in a second to Mr. Jones, and he's got a bit of a video to show.
That was a surprise, Mr. Newbold. Thank you.
Shh, don't tell anyone. Tyler, that's between you and me. Keep it a secret. All right? And then we'll be then to Mr. Carmody and Mrs. Kalish. Girls and boys, when you do come up, and in this magnificent venue, this allows us to do it, you'll come up, you'll receive a certificate and get to shake the hands of your teacher, shake my hand, shake Mr. Jones' hand, and then we'll ask you to go across towards the sort of piano. Half of you will be able to stand on the top and the other half on the step below. And then parents, that's a really great opportunity for you to click wildly for your child. I'm certain I'll make some great Christmas card photos for you. But without further ado, thank you, Year 5. Thank you, Mr. Carmody. Thank you, Mrs. Kalish, for everything that you've done for the children this year. And thank you to all the other teachers and staff members who have been part of their life through their 6 years or up until right now as we move them on to the middle school next year. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg, and good evening, parents, family, friends, staff, but most importantly, good evening to our graduating Year 5 students. It's a significant occasion, and for me, there's been lots of firsts this year. First time I've seen lots of different events at Cathedral. Crazy considering I've been here 3 years now, but for me, the most important firsts have been in this chapel, and the Chapel of the Good Shepherd is an amazing space. And we've done lots of work in here this year, and I know you've enjoyed being in here, but I think it's really special that we get to celebrate your graduation in our new chapel, and you are the first Year 5 graduates to be graduated from the Chapel of the Good Shepherd, so very special. The word graduation is a strange word, but it generally means celebrating the end of a schooling or the end of a course or the end of a university while you're studying at school. And we're celebrating your Year 5 graduation, which is a bit strange because you've still got lots of years to go at school. And also, it's a little bit different because in a lot of other junior or primary schools, they celebrate this at Year 6 before students move on to Year 7. But we are a little bit different at Cathedral, and we are celebrating your graduation from junior school today as Year 5s. But it's pretty special, I think. We're a prep to Year 12 school, which is absolutely one of our strengths. And the beauty about it is that you get the opportunity to work and learn in a school, maybe right from prep all the way through to Year 12. And that's a real advantage for lots of reasons. But one of the biggest advantages is we know that you learn best, students learn best when they feel safe and supported and connected to their learning environment, to their school, when they have got time to develop really strong relationships with each other and also with your teachers and your other learning staff. And you get that opportunity. And as Mr. Newbold said, you are moving on to Year 6 next year, and you had lots of fun meeting your teachers and some new students next year. But the great thing about it is it's all very familiar to you. You are moving on, but it's not foreign for you, and you really feel prepared. I saw that yesterday when you were doing your Year 6 classes. You had lots of confidence and really looking forward to Year 6, which is a fantastic thing to be able to say. It's timely on an occasion like this when the principal gets up. He sometimes has a bit of advice for you. And my advice and message for you this evening is that I want you to dream big.
Let on the excitement and we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. But can the Socceroos go all the way?
And a break here.
This is the moment.
It's Matthew Leckie, cuts back inside.
The Socceroos made World Cup history.
And he scores for Australia! Matthew Leckie!
A 1-0 win over Denmark, thrusting Australia through to the knockout stage for the second time ever.
And from there...
We showed them all, they're heroes. Come on! Leckie, oh, what a goal. Best goal of the World Cup by far. I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life.
The Aussie underdogs are about to go buck wild.
No celebrations, no emotion, sleep, no social media.
Okay, guess not. But that didn't stop the centre of Melbourne from looking like a war zone at 3 a.m.
At 3:20 in the morning, on a Thursday, Melbourne is on fire.
This bloke's legs nearly carrying him to Qatar. Even Sydney pubs were allowed to stay open past their bedtime.
If you're Danish, unlucky. If you're Australian, let's go!
Aussie fans overseas calling on the PM to celebrate with a public holiday.
Albo, that was one of the greatest sporting moments in Australian history. Give us a day off!
Come on, Albo.
Any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
2 group stage wins, making this the Socceroos' most successful World Cup campaign ever.
This generation is talking about emulating the 2006 squad and achieving the same goals that when they were 10 years of age they saw.
But they'll have to get through the best player of all time to do it. No biggie, they reckon.
We're capable, we've shown it, and now we've just got to believe and go out there and put in another performance of our lives.
All right, let's...
Now, we could watch that all evening, but there's a couple of reasons I did show you that. Number one, as you know, many of you know, I love my sport. So any chance I get to throw a bit of sport into these sort of evenings, we do. But obviously there's a few reasons there. Number one, the takeaways we can look at is that just the accomplishment of those Socceroos to qualify for the World Cup finals is amazing. We've done it 6 times now, and for a country the size of Australia, where soccer or football is not really one of the main sports on our TVs or in our media, even to just qualify for the World Cup finals is an amazing achievement. The fact also that we got through to the round of 16, beating teams like Denmark, who grow up on football and are pretty much raised on the game, and then to obviously almost beat Argentina, who are the 3rd best country in the world, is an amazing thing. And the reason I bring this up this evening is because for our graduating students, the world is your oyster. And what I mean by that is you can achieve anything you want to achieve. I think it's crazy to think that many of those Socceroos that you saw up there, 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, were sitting in exactly the same spot as you, as Year 5 students, looking to graduate into Year 6 or Year 7, and about to embark on some new adventures. I love to hear, and one of my Year 5 students said to me a couple of weeks ago, or a bit longer, this might give it away who said it, but he said, Dad, he said, I've looked at the current Australian Test team, and I think if I keep going and I keep working hard, I might be able to play out there on the MCG one day with Cameron Green. And I thought that is just a fantastic attitude. And that's the attitude I want all of you to take moving forward into Year 6 and beyond. Anything that you can dream, anything that you can think about, you can achieve. And so whether you want to be a Socceroo or a Matilda, whether you want to become a scientist that helps us with the challenges of climate change, whether you want to become a technology and design engineer who develops the new cities of the future that we're going to need, or whether you want to be an engineer who's going to design those spaceships that are going to get us to Mars and back in the next 10 to 15 years, Any of that is a possibility. And so I encourage you to aim high. Think about what you want to do and use all the opportunities that you're going to have at Cathedral College, or as Mr. Newbold said, if you're moving on, that you're going to have to achieve those dreams and goals and targets. Make the most. Say yes to all those opportunities that come your way. Connect and communicate with all your teachers, staff, support staff, and everybody else here who's going to help you along the way. It's really, really important. You have everything in front of you that you'd want to achieve, and good luck with what that looks like. Thank you very much for your contributions to our junior school. For some of you, it has been from prep, but for others, you've joined us in more recent years. But thank you for your own contributions. Again, thank you to the house captains for your role in your leadership positions. You have been fantastic this year. To our parents and our families and friends, thank you, as Mr. Newbold said, for trusting us with your children. It is certainly an honour, and it's not something that we take lightly. My tip for you, please, is please don't fall into that or resist falling into that temptation sometimes to drop away in terms of your connection with the school as your children move through middle school and then on to senior school. Your role will change, and it'll be a little bit different to what your role is in the junior school, but we certainly value the partnership between home and school. So please continue to connect with us, continue to support us at events like this, and it's really, really important. Thank you to all our junior school teachers, all our teachers who've worked with our graduating Year 5 students through the years, and a big thank you to Mrs. Kalish and Mr. Carmody for your work with our students this year. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Newbold for his strong, professional, calm guidance of these children and our junior school staff throughout this year. It has been very much appreciated. Congratulations, graduating Year 5 students. Congratulations, families, for getting your child to this point in time.
Before I hand over to Mr. Carmody, we haven't seen much of Mr. Jones this week. He's been in his office going through the sporting highlights of the Fremantle Football Club and could find none to put up there. So apologise for that. We certainly would have got Collingwood next year, Mr. Jones, so we'll move on. Thank you very much, and I hope you took a very good message out of that because there is such a future that lies ahead of you, but it's yours to write. So remember that. It's your book that you're writing. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Carmody. He's going to do the first presentations for our 5 DOCA class, and again the children will come up, receive a certificate, and then kids, make some of you just move along to the end, and then there'll be a good opportunity for families to take photos. Mr. Carmody.
Thank you, Mr. Newbold. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be here to show the graduating class of 5 DOCA. I had a couple of takeaways from that, Mr. Jones. Really good parenting advice. If your football team's no good, tell your child to stick to cricket. That's number one. And the other piece of advice, I don't know if you all heard Graham Arnold, no social media. It'll be a good lifelong lesson for you. But anyway, I digress. The only thing I'll say to you guys is that one of the things we learned about our first school year for 3 years is one, it takes a bit of physical and mental energy to get through a whole school year. That's number one. But number two is we forget about all the opportunities that present themselves at school. So whether it's sport or music or MasterChef or production or camp or all those things that we talk about as our highlights of the year, they present opportunities. So keep taking the opportunities as you go into middle school because there are more of them for you there. It's one of the beauties of being a P12 school. So take those opportunities, and some of those opportunities are going to present you the chance to fail, and that is okay, and we talk about that a lot. The failures that make the victory so much sweeter. So keep putting yourself out there and keep taking those opportunities. So without further ado, 5 DOCA 2022, Liana Awad. Mr. Newbold's going to give you off here. Ed Brown. Claudia Kaling. Well done, Claudia. Good job. Well done, Mr. Newbold. Got your certificate. Xander Carter. Well done. I'll hand it over to you. Tyler Edmonston. In the top two favourite hams that I've taught, Ruby Ham. There we go. Oh, no, I guess that's Mr. Newbold. Zeke Harding. Orlando Hunkin. Layla Abram. Well done, Layla. Good work. Blake Cantor. Well done, mate. Good work. Henry Lloyd. Well done, Henry. Sage Milne. Well done, Sage. Very good. Mackenzie Mort. Good done. Good show. Is that what you call them? Olive Murray. Well done, Olive. Good work. Sam Newton. Alexander Orlov. Well done, Alex. That is a very sharp, my man. Steph Parsons. That is one of my favourite prep photos. Well done. This is my next favourite prep photo. Will Pickett. Tilly Primerano. You all right? You got the giggles still, or you good? Congratulations to you. Nice touch. Annika Reynolds. Hunter Ross. Darcy Sanders. Running the same haircut now as you were then. Well done. Paige Schultz. No teeth. Well done, Paige. Duncan Sinclair. Well done, Duncan. Good man. Good work. Congratulations, Duncan. Very good. Piper Saperki. Well done, Piper. Good work. Allegra Saperki Marotta. Good firefight shot. Good work. Lana Tracy. I didn't think so, did you? That by me. Lucy Wilkinson. Good job. And lucky last, Taylor Wilson. Can I present to you 5 DOCA 2022? Dramatists, yeah. There you go. Just press that one.
We should have taught them the alphabet. Thank you, Mr. Carmody, thank you, 5 DOCA. I now like to call on Mrs. Kalish, who's taught Year 3 and taught Year 1 and taught Year 5 in our school. So please welcome Mrs. Kalish and 5 others.
Well, I don't have any football or cricket jokes, but I'll start off with saying that this is the first full year I've had as a Year 5 class. We had 2 years of COVID, and these guys came in to me and they were very anxious and nervous and apprehensive, and they were like, we've missed 2 years of school, Mrs. Kalish. And then it didn't help when I asked them, oh, well, how did you feel when you first started Year 5? Well, you were pretty scary, Mrs. Kalish, and we thought, that you're going to be really tough on us. And then as the year has progressed, I've heard that I'm not that tough, I'm not that scary, and I've had a roasting or two by one of the students, which they like to do. So, and I said, if I forget what to say and I get a little bit nervous, you're going to help me out and sort of, roast me while I'm up here so we can... Anyway, all jokes aside, we've had a fabulous year. I did ask them to reminisce and say what were some positive highlights, and they did talk about their prep buddies, and they talked about camp, and they talked about all the things that they had achieved, as we've talked about, sporting highlights and all of that. So they're off to middle school, but they're not far away, and as I always say to my Year 5s, you know where I am, you know where to come, so please don't be strangers and come and knock on that door. And I hope you do well in whatever it is you choose to decide to do. And as I've always said to you, as Mr. Jones also said, the world is your oyster. You have brains in your heads, you have feet in your shoes, so you can steer in whichever direction you choose. So on that note, without further ado, I'm going to call up my first young man that they are turning into now, Mr. Harry Bigland. Come on up. Oh, sorry. All right. Mr. Taj Brundle. Miss Emily Bussell. Charlotte Byrne. Good girl. Mr. Jack Chittick. Well done, mate. Good job. Miss Isabella, up you come. Up you come, Maddie. Patty. Mr. Farrington. Mr. Ferrier. Sorry, wrong one. Yeah, this way. Knuckles, sorry. Miss Jade Finlay. Well done, sweetheart. Good job. Marley. Claire couldn't be with us tonight, but congratulations, Claire. Mr. Jones. If you want to know where he got the walk from, if you didn't see the school production, that's where he got it from. Miss Kerr. Congratulations. Miss Kiana Lane. Oh, come on. Ooh, next one. Come up, Hayden. Well done, buddy. Good job. Put one there. We've got two more to go. Miss Liddell. Lexi Luby. Miss Edwina McMillan. Miss Giselle Pace. Miss Maisie Palmer. Mr. Looking right at me. Mr. Alex Rymill. The one and only Miss Simmons. Miss Macy Thompson. Miss Charlotte Van der Zam. And we always save the best for last. Mr. Wheeler, up you come.
My father said to me a long, long time ago when I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, sometimes at school, he said, Greg, you need to learn your teachers, and sometimes more important than learning subjects and contents. And one thing I remember saying, Dad, meaning by that was you actually have to learn people, and it's all about relationships. And I think as you saw those young boys and girls, young people coming up here to meet their teachers and congratulate their teachers and be congratulated by their teachers, that there are some fairly special relationships that have been forged throughout the year and bonded throughout the year. And those relationships will go on and move on, but there'll be another set of teachers in the ensuing years that they will also forge very strong relationships with across school. That brings us to the end. There are a couple of mentions. We have a carol service on Friday afternoon at about 2 o'clock start for the junior school, and the middle school, senior school at 11:30. That's held in the Chapel of the Good Shepherd. And then also next week, on the Tuesday, which is our final day of the school year, at 9:30 a.m. we have a junior school presentation ceremony, which is an opportunity for 3 of our dance troupes and a couple of our performances to showcase some of the work they've been doing for the year, which is a really great opportunity for them. And also we have some presentations for children who may have achieved at a very high level, either through diligence, citizenship, through sport, performing arts, and obviously academic. So you're most welcome, parents, to attend the junior school presentation ceremony at 9:30, and there is a middle school senior one that commences at 1:15 on that Tuesday. So there are a few things. It has, Mr. Carmody was right, it has been a long year, and it's a year that children have held tough, have hung tough, which is what they have to do and what we have to do as adults. We look forward to a very safe and very happy Christmas time and holiday time, and certainly take that opportunity to reset and look forward to Year 6 for our junior school children in Year 5, but for everyone else, looking forward to a really successful and optimistic 2023. Thank you for your attendance tonight, and thank you. So, girls and boys, if you'd like to stand up, maybe you could make your way out down, Mrs. Kalish, down the middle, and maybe we can give them a round of applause as they move out.